So this is just to address a lot of the questions that I've been getting. What's going on? Why am I in the hospital? Why am I still in Kansas City? And all of those things. So I wanted to answer some of those questions. Let's see, March 19th, I came to Kansas City. I do live in Wichita, Kansas, even though I can't wait to get up out of there, y'all. But I came here to Kansas City for a surgery on March 19th. Now, that surgery was a 13-hour double mastectomy with deep flat reconstructive surgery. And so, just to kind of put that in my language, I am positive for the BRCA1. We call it the BRCA1 positive, which means that I carry a cancer gene that is very similar to that of my mother's, who was first diagnosed with breast cancer at 38 and passed at 50 from ovarian cancer. Now, because of my mother's history with breast and ovarian cancer, my primary care providers thought that it would be extremely important for me to consider the preventative surgeries. Now, the preventative surgeries are important because, as it stood, with the mom who has had breast and ovarian cancer and testing positive for the actual breast cancer gene mutation, my chances of getting either breast or ovarian cancer were extremely high. I think it was around the 85 to 90% range. And so the preventative surgeries are designed to decrease that pretty substantially. So what are the preventative surgeries? There are two very significant ones, and I'm going to say this in order of prioritization. The first one being getting your ovaries and your tubes removed. And this is placed at number one because, just from my research and what other physicians have told me, ovarian cancer tends to be a lot more aggressive than breast cancer. And so, in order of, again, that prioritization, they're like, whenever you decide that you're done having babies and you don't want any more kids, then we need to go ahead and get those out of there. And so I made the decision to do that back in May, and I don't regret a dang thing because your girl ain't got no period. Girl ain't got no period, and so that makes me happy, and it makes my man happy, and we're thriving there. Okay, and so I don't miss it. But that second option would be to remove the girls, right? We've already decreased the chances for the ovarian side, and now it's time to decrease the chances for breast cancer as well. And so the next preventative surgery would be getting a double mastectomy. There are multiple ways that you can get a double mastectomy. You can either take the girls off and be like, it's okay, I don't need girls. I'm gonna just keep it flat, and that's the way you can go. That's the choice that my mom actually made. Is that she got hers removed, didn't do any reconstruction. She was like, this is my body, how it's gonna be, and I got a man who loved me anyway, right? So who gives a damn what anybody else think? She was happy with that. Other options include removing both breasts and getting implants. So basically they take the pillow out the pillowcase, and then they just stuff some implants up in there, silicone. And I'm sure there are several different ones. Silicone was not ever one of those options that I would even begin to consider. And so I chose the third option, which is the most extensive, where you remove both breasts, and then you take the fat from your abdomen, like your fupa, right? And they take that on each side, and they use that side to rebuild and reconstruct new breasts. So that's what I chose to do. On March 19th is when I had my double mastectomy with deep flat reconstructive surgery. The surgery itself was 13 hours. Yes, you heard that correctly. 13 hours. Your girl woke up 13 hours later. Like, what in the hell? And to make it even more like, what the hell, is that I woke up with expectations, right? I knew how the surgery was supposed to go. I knew what I was supposed to see when I woke up. However, when I woke up, that's not what your girl saw. And so my surgeon, shout out to my plastic surgeon, Meredith Collins at KU Med in Kansas City. She is phenomenal. Okay, her and her nurse Lauren. I love my team there. But anywho, so she came in and she was trying to tell me the news in the sweetest and most kindest way she could, y'all. But what had happened was I had some complications. So apparently when you have deep flap reconstructive surgery, they split the abdomen in two, right? Two parts. And each side then gets transferred to that side of the breast, right? And so apparently on my right side, there was an artery, because when you are transporting this fat to a new area in the body, you have to also, reconnect arteries and veins and things like that. And so it's very delicate surgery to where each side of the abdomen had an artery and a vein, and they had to essentially take that apart, bring all of that with it to the chest, and then reattach the vein and the artery on each side. And so this side was a complete success in terms of the transfer. So I woke up and this breast was good. Yay, pretty girl. And then you had this side, the Omri side, right? My surgeon found out that the artery in my abdomen was too damaged to transfer due to a C-section I had with my son. Can you believe that? But yes, artery was too damaged to make a proper transfer. And so instead of me waking up to, another pretty girl, they essentially took the pillow out the pillowcase. That part was done. And they put in what they call an expander and fill it up with air so that the skin can still maintain its elasticity and keep the shape. And so that's what happened. I woke up and one side was good, one side was not so good. And so I was trying to remain positive, right? Like there were so many good things that came out of the surgery, and so I was still grateful for everything that happened. And so the complication that did happen, just tell me what we got to do next, right? Because that's usually how my mindset is. I don't dwell there too long. I'm like, okay, so what needs to happen now? Okay, so what had to happen next included a different series of options. One, they could put an implant in. They can continue to do a deep flap transfer using your own fat and tissue, and essentially that would be picked from the thigh. And so definitely a lot to consider in terms for what's next. And I thought I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to do until the other complications started to happen. And so probably a couple of weeks later, I think I had my second surgery on April 2nd, and that came from apparently there was some skin on the pretty girl, right? The one who I thought wasn't going to give me no problems. There was some skin that didn't survive the transfer. And so and I think there were some on this side too. And so there was some skin. I had to go into the operating room so that they could handle that situation. It's supposed to be an outpatient surgery. I go in, have my surgery for a couple hours. I go home the same day. But at that surgery, your girl woke up about 6 hours later. And this machine was connected to my left breast, and it had this long tube. It is called a womb vac. It looks like this. I name him Jenkins, and this tube goes all the way up into this sort of suction thing that is on or connected to my left breast. I have to have a home health nurse or a home health aide, whatever they're called. I don't know the proper terminology, but I have to have a nurse come out to me 3 times a week to help me with the dressing, so to change all the bandages and stuff like that and to service the actual machine. So you can imagine me waking up like, what is this and why is it on me? And then again, my wonderful plastic surgeon, Dr. Collins, comes in and tries to delicately tell me that there was a lot more skin that didn't survive than she originally anticipated.